Welcome to the Two Dudes Talk Music YouTube channel. I am the Reverend Raff.
We did it. We made it.
Because when a band's name starts being everywhere, it can be very easy to go like, okay, like.
Just because I know what it's like to feel left out and to feel like people are weird or mean to you, and so I never want to be that person. And I want.
This here is my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
Big opportunity. You guys must be stoked you're on the first day too, because you can just sort of shoot. Yeah, you can just relax.
Brian was sitting down with his our longtime friend and his former bandmate Meegs from Cold Chamber, and they were having coffee, and Brian was.
When those questions go, those hearty chuckles.
You know what that laughter says to me is like, people y'all don't even know what's coming. People just are gonna be minds are gonna be blown by that.
No, it will be a fucking banger.
What's happening, everybody? I am the Reverend Raff, joined once again by my good friend Kyle, aka the BeerBuddy.
What's going on, everybody?
We are the two dudes who talk music, and we are back today. Oh, bless you.
Jeez.
We are back today for another podcast episode. But before we dive into much more of that, we drop 6 videos every week over on YouTube, minimum of 6 videos. Sometimes we drop 7. The other week we had 7 because we had that interview with Bionic Jive.
How cool is that?
That was, mate. Let me tell you, mate, I am stoked with that interview. Like, that was so much fun. So much fun chatting to those guys.
Yeah.
But we got interviews, the podcast, we got reactions, all sorts of fun stuff. So if you have a good time, you like a casual vibe, pretty loose, we don't stand on ceremony too much around here. Like, we just tend to keep it pretty breezy. Hit that subscribe button. We got that. We got the Patreon as well. It's just a couple of bucks a month. You get everything early and ad free. And our eternal thanks. So, hey, if you can, our eternal thanks as long as you're paying $2 a month. No, okay.
Yes, no.
It's eternal thank you. Anyone who has provided us any degree of financial support, or even just followed, listened, whatever. You guys are amazing. If you've interacted in our videos, we love all you guys so much. We just recently passed 3,500 subscribers on the channel, so thank you guys for that.
So cool.
You guys make this happen, and we really appreciate that. So, thank you very, very much. We are going to be covering today, it ties into today a little bit, but we'll get to that a bit more later, but we are covering Nowherefest. Yeah. So today, our guests are one of the bands from Nowherefest, and we'll be out there on the day. I'll be around, hopefully getting interviews and stuff with people, so keep an eye out for us there. It'll be right around my birthday, so come and say hi if you see me out at that one. Really appreciated. Kyle will also be at Thrashville coming up soon.
Yes.
So we'll try and have I was going to say tickets and then links.
Tickets and
links to tickets to both of those shows. Oh my God, fine. In the description, so you can go and get your tickets for those and just have a blast. Like, it's going to be a crazy show. So for Nowherefest, I'll rattle that off. That's going to be at Amore Events in West End, Brisbane on the 14th of June. It's going to be featuring Botulism coming all the way over from Germany. Dark Law, Anton Amasia, Bong Coffin, Oceans and Omens, T-Rex Autopsy, Plague Dweller, and so many more bands, including our guest today, Dark Order. Yeah. And what about the Thrashville lineup? What's the deal with that?
Okay, so Thrashville lineup. It is on the 28th of June in Newcastle. And that is where you got King Parrot, which looked like headlining. You got Mudrat, Frankenbach, Rick Dangerous, Private Function, T-Rex Autopsy. There's one or two that I can't read. There's Slim Krusty, who has just absolutely exploded onto the scene at the moment. It's like an urban Slim Dusty, but they call him Slim Krusty. And it's urban bush poetry in the weirdest sense of a way. It's so cool. And if you haven't seen him, go check it out. Go and see him at Thrashville. It's a stacked lineup.
Oh yeah, that's going to be good, man. It's some good shows coming up. There really is. And like I said, we will have tickets to both of those down in the description. We also have the t-shirts. So we did a pre-order run of t-shirts in case you didn't know.
Grab one out and we can show.
You know what? Yeah, grab one out and we can show people. So if you have pre-ordered one of these t-shirts, they are here. Well, one of the batches is here. We had to order 2 batches to get some of them, but they are here. They are being prepared to come out to you guys now. If you don't already have them, then you will have it very, very soon. But Kyle's going to show us one of those lovely t-shirts. There we go.
There's the front.
There's the front, and we got the back as well. Oh, the back came out really nice. I was a little worried about that.
Fantastic, man.
Really, a little worried about that. So
it absolutely pops.
But yeah, so there you go. Those are the that's what's happening with those t-shirts. So if you have ordered one and you don't already have it, it will be hopefully with you very, very soon. For those of you up in Queensland who have ordered one, they should be getting posted up to me once the second batch arrives, and then the t-shirt distribution system will do its business from there. So if you haven't got it yet, if you haven't got your shirt and you ordered one, please reach out. Let us know.
We'll get to you
ASAP. We'll make sure we get that out to you as soon as possible. Unfortunately, it was just a pre-order run, guys. So, but keep an eye out. If we're going to do another run, we will let you all know. And maybe down the road, we will look at launching a shop if there's enough demand for stuff. But all of the formal stuff out of the way, mate. How are you doing? How are you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know how it is, just listening to fuckloads of music as we do here, trying to find new bands, getting out and filming.
What have you been listening to lately?
Dude,
I haven't asked that in a while. What have you been listening to lately?
You know what? My daughter asked, what did I listen to when I was in Mum's tummy? And I'm like, mate, you used to listen to a lot of Arctic Monkeys and a lot of rock stuff. So I've been sort of taking my daughter on a bit of a journey, because a couple of weeks ago, someone asked if she wanted to go to the Katy Perry concert. I saw the tickets to it, and I'm like, I'm getting Katy Perry tickets for that much, $400. No, not for something that she doesn't really know. And it turns out I've got a little rocker daughter. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I've got no issue with it. I've never been so proud in my life. But other than that, just kicking back, enjoying life, man. How about you?
Man, work's been hectic, as always. Just trying to get everything through. I've been working some overtime the last couple of weekends, but not this weekend. I was like, no, I'm not doing 3 overtime weekends in a row. Fuck that. But no, man, you know what? You know what I've been listening to lately? The new Vinny Paz.
Really?
The new Vinny Paz stuff, man. He is he is just on fire. I mean, he's always good. He's always good. But Vinny Paz is one of those dudes where, like, when he raps, he just sounds so dangerous, so legitimate. Like, a lot of rappers talk like very violent stuff in their lyrics sometimes, or they talk very threatening stuff in their lyrics. They talk about how hard they are and how dangerous they are. Vinny Paz, you believe it. Like you hear it, you believe it. Like this is a guy who's been around for long enough, and he just has so much credibility. He's one of those guys who is, like, even if you don't know him, your favorite rappers probably know him and probably listen to him, that sort of thing. So, I highly recommend that new Vinny Paz album, man. He just come out.
I'm gonna go check it out.
It is really fucking impressive, like, and it's very straightforward. It's that old school vibe of, like, the beat is there as the vehicle for him. It's not like doesn't get over because of the beat or the instrumental. It's him. The focus is on him and what he does with that, and it's pristine. It's great stuff every time. Such deep lyricism that he brings to it as well. So highly recommend that one. Highly recommend that. Maybe we'll have to find something something of his and do a bit of
we might have to do a reaction to it off the new album. Yeah,
maybe try and pick one of those new songs I haven't listened to just yet. But
sweet.
But yeah, man. So that's kind of what's been going on here. Other than that, like I said, we're covering Nowherefest, and we'll be out at Nowherefest in Thrashville. So make sure you're coming along to those ones. But we are going to get to today's guest. So as I mentioned, it is going to be Dark Order is who we're talking to today. We're talking to Raul and Nick, and they are going to be playing at Nowherefest coming up in a few weeks. They talk to us about, it's going to be their first gig in Queensland in 23 years, by the way, which is crazy. I mean, that's wild. So that's going to be awesome. Picking of sort of some new songs maybe that they haven't played in a while for the lineup. They talk to us about the new album that they're working on. So that's going to be really interesting to see when that eventually comes out. So yeah, look, let's get into our chat with Raul and Nick from Dark Order.
Awesome.
Big thank you to Raul for joining us today. We appreciate you getting up, joining us early and while you're having your breakfast there, mate. Very much appreciated. How are you doing? Yeah, a great day for it. Looks like a wonderful day down there in Sydney.
Yeah, for once. It's been raining a lot, so.
Yeah. So how's everything going in the Dark Order camp? The preparations underway for Nowherefest. How's everyone feeling?
Everyone's really excited for the show. We're just coming up minus our bass player because he's got to tend to his his wife was very sick.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So we just select the songs that don't really need the bass, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Because we got plenty of songs where the bass is prevalent, but you can pick and choose from. We got 4 albums, so we're recording the 4th one now. So you can pick and choose lots of songs, you know.
It's good that you're versatile like that.
Yeah. So no, we're excited. I mean, it's been 23 years since we played in Queensland.
Holy shit.
And the last time we played with Misery. And remember Misery? I don't know if they're still going, but
No, I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah.
but they were big in the time, at the time.
Okay.
And I can't even remember the name of the venue or the location where we played. It's so long ago.
Wow. That's wild. That's 24 years since you played in Queensland. Holy shit.
2002. What's that? My math's shit.
Okay. 23 years.
23 years. Yeah, 23 years. That's
okay.
Good.
That's wild, man. So you're looking forward to coming back up then, I take it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's nice. I mean, it's great that, because the lineup on this festival is pretty damn stellar, I got to say. Like, there's some old school stuff, there's some new school stuff, there's, some people, we got botulism coming over from Germany for it, I'm
interested to see botulism. I think they're grindcore, right? From Germany.
I'll be honest, I haven't checked them out just yet, but I'm keen to experience what they're bringing to the table. I mean, we've interviewed a few sort of German bands, a couple of German bands lately, so it seems to be, maybe I should check it out. It seems to be kind of on my radar a bit. The universe is giving me some signs.
Right.
But yeah, the lineup's stellar, and I mean for $40 for $40 for a ticket, the amount of stellar talent you're getting is off the charts. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, me and Nick have been to the Crowbar down here. There's only been like 3 or 3 bands, whatever, and that was $40.
Yeah.
And another venue, the Vanguard, was the same, was $40. I was like, wow, how things have exploded out. The prices have exploded out in the last couple of years.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. For that lineup, that festival, all those great bands for $40, man.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
That's crazy. So, I mean, I've been listening to your stuff over the last sort of couple of days. Diving into the back catalog there. Very, very clear. So the Testament sort of influence, Exodus, that kind of stuff coming through there. That Bay Area thrash sound, that old school thrash, just like fast riffs, bang your fucking head, heavy metal, like in the truest sense of the word. How is there any? So you said you're doing a slightly, kind of tailoring the set to songs that are a bit less focused on the bass. Does that mean you're playing some stuff that maybe you haven't played in a long time, or visiting some older stuff that maybe fans won't have heard live in a while?
No, not really. Just there's actual songs where the bass is playing by itself, whether it's with the drums or starting the song or something like that.
Yep.
So those are the songs we're just avoiding. They are some of my favorite songs. We're actually learning. Funny that we're actually learning a song off the 3rd album that's never been played live, but it's, for me personally, it's my favorite song that I've ever written.
Oh wow, which one's that?
Criminal of State.
Okay.
It's a very long song. It's got a lot of transitioning styles. It starts a certain way. Middle of the song is kind of slow. End of the song goes fast, and it's about. I wrote the song about Henry Kissinger, so I made it about his life journey, how he he started his life in Germany, and then as a German Jew, and then his family ended up at Auschwitz, and 13 members of his family got executed. And he found after the Second World War, he went to the United States, and he started learning about geopolitical stuff, and we started serving the right-wing governments in the United States, ultimately ending up with Nixon.
Mhm.
And him and Nixon are the ones that created the military coup in Chile and in another 15 Latin American countries. And then he basically became what he was once persecuted as.
Mm.
He became a right-wing imperialistic persecutor of peoples. And so the song, musically wise, I learned from film score people like Jerry Goldsmith and Wojciech, and that's the guy that did the Dracula soundtrack. And remember Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
one of my
yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
movies of all time.
Masterpiece.
He did the whole soundtrack for that movie.
Okay.
I bought the CD of that 30 years ago, and I've never stopped listening to it. It's amazing. But I remember there was the whole point of the way I write music, and so particularly this song, it according to the story of what it's telling and the different parts of this man's life, I changed the style of music. So,
Okay.
and I learned that from Phil Score, because when they were doing the first Star Trek movie, Jerry Goldsmith had done the background music for when they introduced the refitted Enterprise, and he thought, I'm just going to make it sound like sailing ships or whatever. And then when the actual producer of the movie came in, who's not a musician, just a movie producer, he just looked at Jerry and goes, I don't like this. There's no theme. And Jerry's like, no theme. So I had to really think about that. When you're telling a story, lyric-wise, and in their case, image-wise, you've got to make music that matches the theme.
Mm.
So, for instance, we have a new song on the new album that's coming out. We're going to play in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote it about my divorce. Now, the last thing you need to do with a song about divorce, in my opinion, is to do blast beats and pig squeals and, So the style of the song is like a Metallica kind of load, reload kind of ballad kind of thing,
Okay.
It's because it just suits the style. And if people say, oh, you're a sellout, I say, look, mate, I'm singing about my divorce. Like, I can't just do fast thrash about that. But, Cold War, the Condor, the third album, every song I make sure that what the topic's about, I match the musical theme. So if it's Operation Condor, which is about all the extrajudicial death squads they used to send, Chile used to send around the world to hunt down people, then I made that song sound and feel like you're on the run, kind of like one of those you're on the run sort of movies like
Chase music.
Yeah, you can think of a movie that's like that. So yeah,
it's good the amount of thought you put into it. I mean,
I love
no,
that. I definitely noticed stuff like, Lament for Victor Yara was straight away. I'm like, okay, that's like that's a very obviously a much more emotional piece. It's very it's got the clean guitars in there, the singing and everything. So it's great that you've got that range in your expression there.
Do you know who he was?
No, I'm not familiar with the name.
All right,
sorry.
So the song, I wrote that song in the style of his music. He was a folk singer from Chile, the most famous excuse me, talking to my mouthful. He was the most famous folk singer from Chile. And 3 days into the military coup, they tortured him. They were saying things to him like, so you're never going to play guitar again. So they used the rifle butt and smashed his hands. They cut his tongue out, saying you're never going to sing again. And then they killed him. All because he had songs that were pro-socialist because he was a believer in Salvador Allende. So that song, as I wrote it in his style, the way if you ever hear his music, it's like, oh yeah, I can hear it. It's the same style. And even the lyrics is the same. His lyrics, they're not always political, but they're kind of what's the word? There are a lot of analogies in his lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So he's describing something, but he's actually using analogy. So I wrote it in that kind of thing, trying to match him, sort of like a ode to him.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Like, I love because look, we talk about this all the time, right? Like, it's great. We love heavy music, we love fast music, we love the heavy shit. But like, if it's at 110% all the time, it kind of loses a lot of meaning. You know what I mean? Like, you need range, you need dynamism in it. You need to, you need the quiet parts so that the bigger parts are bigger. You need you need the softer parts so that the heavier parts are heavier.
I agree.
The juxtaposition helps to highlight what you're trying. The different. It helps to accentuate the energy of the different sections.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so that's amazing. It's great that you're able to bring like that sort of range into everything there. So, I mean, you mentioned the new album that you guys are working on. How long's that been kind of in the works for? How long have you guys been writing for that one?
Well, been writing for it during my marriage, and when I was married, I wasn't really doing much music because that's what women do. Suck all your time out. And then when the divorce happened, it was a bit of a flood.
Mm-hmm.
3 songs popped out of me. And in particular, that divorce song, I wrote the music on one day and the lyrics the next day. I've never in my life written music so fast. It's usually, I remember on the 3rd album, there's one song where the verse riff, I was stuck on it for 6 months trying to rewrite it. No, it's not right. It doesn't feel right, And juxtapose this other song, which just came out like blah.
Yeah.
And
poured out here.
Yeah. And so we've been now recording the music since the last 3 years because we went and did all the drum tracks in the studio, and then I bought a lot of gear to do guitars and bass and the vocals at home, my own home studio, just to save money because recording studios damn expensive.
Yep.
Very expensive.
$1,000 a day. So
yeah.
And so what's been delaying me now has been the time. I can only record on weekends. So like today, Saturday, when I finish this interview, I'll go back home and start doing recording. And I'm recording all the rhythm guitars, and I'm super, for the lack of a better word, I don't know if I can swear on your thing, but
you can.
I'm super anal about every little bit because I'm just trying to get. Every time I hear a band from Europe seems to be even way more than America or Latin America. Their albums sound like perfection. I never hear. It's like you just listen to some of the new bands and I just go, Jesus Christ! It's just and the other thing that happens with the perfection thing is that you think you've learnt music, you learnt your new songs. These songs we've been playing, for the last 3 years at rehearsal, and a few of them we play live. And you think a song is simple until you start recording it and you start hearing all the little bits that are messy or you can't hear and you're trying to make them audible. So the song I'm on now, I've been stuck on it for the last 3 months. I go and record and I've only recorded a little bit because I'm trying to nail these little parts. The other songs that I've already done, they've taken 2, 3, 4 days, whatever. But this one song, I can't wait to finish because I'm going to have a party. and then we got another, we're re-recording the divorce ballad. We're re-recording because I slowed the music down because I found that Nick was playing it too fast and it didn't feel right. So we weren't re-recording. It's an easy song. So Nick actually added, it was good because he actually added drum parts that weren't there before.
Yeah, good.
So it's good. And then we got another. I got another one more old song from the first recording session to record, which is way easy. It's very much like South of Heaven meets Black Sabbath, sort of.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
it's like South of Heaven meets War Pigs. That's the best way.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be a nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the two boys in the band, the guitarist Luis and our bass player Sean. Sean's still playing bass, just by the way, but he just can't do interstate shows. But we're still looking for a replacement bass player. That's another story. But we added two of their songs. We went and tracked them. And Sean's more pure death metal. He loves Death and Morbid
Fast.
Angel, and well, this song is more like Obituary, slow and shreddy. You know, that slow Obituary kind of song. So I like the new album because compared to the third album was 95% all me, and I didn't feel like I needed to prove myself again. I didn't need to repeat that. I see every album like a cookbook. When you write a new album, sometimes you want to dip back into your old cookbooks and do a song that's kind of like that or kind of like this. But I find it important for a band to evolve from album to album, not radically change their sound. Like we all hated when Metallica went to the Black Album, right? Even though in hindsight now you realize the Black Album is what
a
it is.
masterpiece. It's a fucking masterpiece.
It is what it is. I love it. But back then we were teenagers. We were like, what's going on? You know? We're expecting Justice for All #2, but that's not a good idea for a band to easily turn into 80s AC/DC. I find all the songs too much the same.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I love 70s AC/DC. I love the Bon Scott era because there was more larrikinism in the lyrics, and you know.
Yeah, well, the whole theory goes that the album was done before Brian Johnson even, like, the whole thing was written. That's why everything. That's why everything after the first Brian Johnson album, it's just the same.
Yeah.
But either way,
yeah, I get what you mean though, and I think this is my thing again. I've said it a couple of times in the past. Like, when you talk about like the big four of thrash, Metallica is obviously considered the biggest. Why are they considered the biggest? Because they branched out. They went different directions. They gained a larger audience by expanding and doing different styles rather than just sticking in thrash the way that the other three of the big four did. So that's kind of why they ended up having that much more financial success, right? And that's not a dig at the other bands by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just it's a fact that Metallica branched out, did stuff that was ultimately more accessible to a wider audience. For better or worse. I mean, there's people that like, that don't like the sort of the black and the load reload stuff. There's people that prefer that and don't really like the thrash stuff, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of both. Like, load and reload's what got me into Metallica. I literally just the other day when they announced that huge load, huge load,
the remaster,
the huge load. The remastered box set. I ordered myself a copy of that as a little birthday present because it's dropping right around my birthday, and Load's one of the albums that got me into Metallica in the first place. That was the era where I first heard them, so that's what kind of sparked my interest. And I think that, if I've heard some people say, and I think Kyle, you might even have said this, that if Load and Reload had been released as like James Hetfield solo albums.
Yeah.
Rather than Metallica albums.
Yep, exactly what Corey Taylor did.
They might have been received a lot better by the fan base. And,
that's interesting.
Sort of keep Metallica as a thing. But it's, I mean, ultimately things panned out the way they did. But, I think there's a lot of value in those albums. I mean, I'll even defend Saint Anger. I don't care. Like, Saint Anger was, if another band had released Saint Anger with slightly better production, they would have been hailed as ahead of their time. And
that's right.
It's just because it was Metallica that it gets so much hate.
But then you have a look at it, all right? It's like, what's out of the big four? Who are the ones that are in the conversation the most? And it's Metallica, and it's either good or bad publicity. But regardless, every time they bring out a new album, everything gets pushed to the side, and they are the biggest thing in the conversation. So love it or hate it, whenever they drop something, there's conversation around it.
And that's not to say that means, that's not to say that this financial success is the metric of quality by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the point of they have managed to, by diversifying their portfolio effectively, they've managed to gain more success through that.
The
Yeah.
thing I remember with the interview with James Hetfield, like a recent one, it's like people think, this is the funny thing about the music industry. People think that a band, say Dark Order, whatever, we can just go manufacture an album with a completely different style, and you're going to get more commercial success, and that is wrong. Because first of all, musicians take years to evolve a style, their style of, like my songwriting, for instance, and that's what comes out of your DNA and how you feel at the moment. That's what music, when you write songs, it's feeling in a moment. And Metallica, when they did the Black Album, James Hetfield said the only reason why that album happened was we just come off the Justice for All tour. We've done 2.5 years of touring. Those songs are very progressive and complicated. And we were just tired. And we just wanted to write simpler songs. That was their metric, simpler songs. And so they did it. And he goes, even if we could write a song that only had one riff, which was Enter Sandman, let's give it a shot. So he goes, that album was an experiment. It could have failed for us. Easy. And I went, well, that's true. And so by the time they did Load and Reload, that's what they were feeling at the time, what they were listening at the time. I remember Kirk Hammett saying, we're just trying not even to do any palm muting on the guitar because every metal band does that, and we just don't want to do that anymore. Or at the time, it was like, even remember the Some Kind of Monster DVD when Kirk talks about the guitar solos, and he goes, and they come to that realization that if it serves a song, there should be a guitar solo, but if it doesn't, then no guitar solos. And so that whole album ended up with no solos, it's just a riff-a-rama thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of metalheads are so stuck and set in their ways that they don't understand that, at least with Metallica, when they say the sellouts, they were doing it for other reasons, and people are just not focusing on listening to them and saying, oh, you did it for this and this and that.
Yeah. They didn't do it to sell out. They did it and it was received well, basically. Yeah. Greetings, Nick. Thank you so much for jumping on, mate.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. Thanks for having us.
No worries at all, man. We were just we're talking about, we're excited to see you guys playing up in Queensland soon, and the new album that's being worked on and everything, and all sorts of stuff, man. How are you feeling about everything that you guys have got coming up?
Yeah, we have quite a few gigs now. Just booked accommodation for Brisbane. Get that out of the way, and we've got like 6 gigs coming up now this year, and we're actually trying to, if Raul hasn't told you, we're trying out a new bass player, looking for a bassist. We won't have a bassist in Brisbane, but yeah, that's about it. Working on the new album, or Raul is.
Yeah, so it's been exciting though. I mean, like obviously first time for the band playing in Queensland in 23 years, so that's a hell of a long time. So have you? What's the lineup situation been like over the years? Is that I'm guessing, Nick, you look quite a bit younger than Raul there, so like you sort of a newer member to the band, I'm guessing.
You're wise, not old, wise.
Hey, I never said Raul was old. I never said Raul was old.
Yeah, I joined in 2020. I'm 30, so I joined in 2020, and we've had a few lineup changes since I've joined. But Lewis R, the guitarist, is around 30 as well. So and Sean, our current bassist, is 51, like Raul. So 52. So
52. No, 53.
53, right. So,
because we went to school together.
Oh, wow.
He was always a year above me. And back at school, we were just acquaintances because he was best friends with the best friend of my brother.
Oh, okay.
So,
small world.
Small world, yeah.
Nick left.
Oop, no, I think he's just turned his camera off. I don't know.
sorry.
No, that's cool though. Like,
yep.
Yeah, that's cool though. Like, being able to have, some a bit more experience in there as well, and then you got the younger guys coming in that can really kind of reinvigorate stuff too. It's a nice mix. I think you can find a nice sort of balance across that spectrum there. So you mentioned there's some other gigs that are being sort of lined up. Is there any of those that you can talk to us about? Tell us some details around those.
Yeah, later in the year we got a couple of gigs with a band called Dark Era from Perth.
Yeah,
They're called.
nice.
Yeah, we're doing a couple of those. One's in Canberra, one's in Sydney.
Mhm.
I've got one coming up at the end of the month in at the Elton Chong's in Penrith with a few doom metal bands.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a mate from work got us on that gig, so
Yeah, nice.
Nice. That was
Nice.
if you're playing at Elton Chong's, Kyle might end up getting out
Yeah,
there for that one.
I'm there tonight, actually.
Yeah,
back there
Kyle's
tonight.
out there just about every week.
Yeah,
Just
far
about
out.
every week. That's
Resident
cool though.
there
So,
now.
so kind of keeping busy between gigging and work on the new album there. That's awesome. Is there any sort of time frame of when we're thinking the album might be, or a goal you're shooting for, or to maybe to
Oh,
have that
man.
ready?
I was hoping that we were going to finish tracking by the end of this year, but the way things are going, definitely, I can say, definitely it'll come out next year.
Mhm.
We haven't even started recording the bass yet. Like I said, with Sean looking after his wife, trying to get him around just to do bass tracking has just not happened. And I can understand. And he even said to me, if you find a new person, you think it'd be better for them to do the bass line? I said, well, it depends on the song, because if they're bass lines you've already written and they're already awesome, that's what should go down on tape. I don't care who does it, And then once I've got the instruments done, bass won't take as long as the guitars, and vocals will be the thing where I'm going to really push myself hard, even harder than the last album. The last album I really pushed the living shit out of myself, and because partly because that studio kept double.
Apologies for the jump cut there, everybody. We had a slight technical snafu. But we
Nick,
were.
if you can hear me turn your camera back on.
We were talking about don't turn it back on if you're having a wank.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about t-shirts there, and you're saying you're trying to find the right artwork and
Imagery.
everything to go along with it, and but look, I think that's great. Like I think it's great. I love the idea of, it's nice when bands have t-shirts that's like just their logo or something, or like, like the Drowning Pool shirt there where it's like just that, right? But I think, yes, like, but if you've got,
I love that band. I love the warning. If
you got artwork that is based in the lyrics of a song, I think that is a really, that's a bit more attention grabbing. I think it kind of makes people. So you see a logo, you're like, okay, it's a logo, whatever. But you see like art on there, you look at it for longer, you consider it more. It's more, it projects a different message.
I just don't like what's the word? Like
boring t-shirts.
Well, yeah, mediocrity. Like a lot of metal, and I'm going to there's a criticism of metal and metal bands, all right? For instance, I'm not knocking the styles. I'm just criticizing.
Yeah.
I see death metal bands always have that squiggly logo that you can't read.
The tree root logo, yep.
So you see a poster of a gig, 5 bands on, and you just go, who? You don't know who's on.
Yeah,
right?
There's a big problem when you look at a poster for a lineup and they've got the logos and then they have to have it in brackets underneath what the actual name of the band is. I'm sorry, I get that it's kind of the point, that it's part of it's
thing?
like in on the joke. It's kind of the thing to make it as unreadable as possible, but at the same time, like, it sucks for advertising.
But I mean,
and anyone who claims to be able to read those regularly without knowing what the word is already, you're lying. I'm sorry, you're lying.
Yeah. And you can say a lot of the thrash bands copy their logo styles from the next band and whatever. But the other thing that sort of pisses me off is that they always stick to the same imagery. So the death metal bands are always skulls, bloods, and guts, and the colds and all that shit. And then the thrash bands, it's always that cartoon-looking artwork, like it's
yeah.
some whatever. So when I say I'm trying to look for artwork for Dark Horse, it's not just to be unique, but it's to try the best I can to represent what the band is about.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, I could do a shirt, the common shirt that a band puts a picture of their lineup on the back and they're all looking tough and all that shit. I just think after, how long has thrash been around now? 40 years. Try something, try to be a little bit different, but still say you're metal. And like I said to Nick, how many times have you seen a band shirt with their logo on it? But does the average Joe on the street know that it's a metal band, or do they think it's some cartoon character name that you could have bought at Kmart? You know what I mean? And that's when you say that the current shirts I have left of Darko at the moment are just our logo. And I said to Nick, man, you put that shirt on, it's a logo, but it looks like it could be a Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You wouldn't know it's a metal band. So when I designed that current logo of Dark Order, I drew it by hand because we had a fallout with past lineup. And the original logo on the first two albums was done by our ex-bass player's friend. So I just thought, it's time to refit the image of the band. And I did it by hand. And because I'm a big Star Trek fan, I tried to make it look like a Klingon writing.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I tried to make it look like something.
I'm
from the
looking
Klingon
at it and
Empire.
I'm going, I can. It's definitely
It's
got like
strangely familiar.
like a spacey kind of vibe about it, especially and with the background and everything on there. But I'm like, what is it that's there? And the suit, that's what it is. That's absolutely what it is.
I mean,
oh my
even
God.
my guitar strap, I had it made where it's got Dark Order embroidered down the strap, but it's in Klingon.
That's
So if you look at it, you wouldn't know, but unless I told you. But that's just because I'm a Trekkie and
it's actually really funny. The way you have the logo looks like a set of horns.
Yeah.
The
Horns
way
and
the
fangs.
D, yeah, like
horns
the
and
D.
fangs.
It also-
It's like,
It also reminds me of did you guys ever watch Battlestar Galactica, the reboot series
maybe a couple
from
of episodes here or there, but
yeah. So the Cylon Raider has got these forward swept hook-looking wings, which look like the top of our logo, and I thought that's cool too. You could turn our logo into like a starfighter sort of thing, and it would look awesome.
yeah.
For a video clip.
Yeah,
have it flying through space on like the thing.
Do one of those
that's really cool though, and
do
I mean,
one of those 80s, the cartoon ones where it's flying through space and all the space chicks with the big bikinis and stuff like just funny as.
yeah, totally.
Real old school.
I do love the fact though that like I mean we're at the point societally now where we can go, all right, yep, we're metalheads, but we're also big fucking geeks as well. Like it's just there's for a long time it was thrash and stuff was really seen as like a real meathead sort of party, and it was like just tough manly dudes, jocks and stuff like that, and meatheads and whatever, and we've really progressed beyond that at this point now, I think. And there's obviously people that will have still certain assumptions, but it's nice that I think at least as a community, for the most part, we're pretty past that sort of mentality.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing we're definitely past, which you never hear about anymore, is back in the good old days when metal was viewed as satanic and all that shit, and religious people would want to have a go at you. You don't hear about that anymore. Everyone's gotten over it, gotten past it.
Not
And
unless you're really one of them old school ones.
Yeah. And even though my band's the lyrics are about serious things, the funny thing is that we never take ourselves seriously. Like, for instance, the first track on the second album, that's just, we did a parody of a Star Trek scene. It's all about how Earth is being attacked. Back in the early 2000s when new metal was around, and in America they were calling it mallcore because it was metal you could buy at the shopping mall. So we made a parody about that the Earth's being invaded by techno, because that's raves were really, really big in those days. I don't know if they're still big now. I mean, they seem
Massive.
to be.
They're fucking massive.
But you know, we basically made a pair. If you put that track on and listen to, I'm pretending to be the captain of the ship, and the other guy in the voice is the infamous. I can't say the famous, the infamous Lord Tim. We all know what happened to him just now. Um, he did the other character, and we're just making fun that, you know, Earth's being invaded by Malcore and by techno, and our weaponry, which is our Marshall amplifiers, is running out. And we're going to get run over, and you know, it's just that kind of funny thing, and it's called Mission to the Continuum. You know who I'm talking about when Lord Tim from Lord.
Yes.
You know,
Sorry,
you know what
I
happened
know.
to him
Yes.
recently? He just got put in jail for pedophilia.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do recall. Yes, hearing
Yeah,
about
so
that.
it sucks for us because on that second album we got his guitar solos and his voice, and 20 years later now we know he's a pedophile. I just sort of it's not our fault, but it just feels like a bit of I don't know. I not embarrassed, but cringy. But we can't do anything about it. We're kind of stuck.
Yeah. Well, it's just
You know what I mean?
it's one of those things. Like, you know, it's.
Unfortunately,
don't-
fucking when you up to shit like that, you have like
You don't know
people
what
us-
you don't know at the time, and
Yeah.
you know, no one could have known.
Overdub it with my voice, and we can do like a Lord of the Rings parody. It'll be better.
You could, I mean, you know, if you got the sessions, I guess you could.
Not just that, it might actually
know,
be worth like for I know this might sound a
tough.
bit cringe and stuff, but maybe a bit of go and fuck that, dude. We're going to re-record it. We're going to re-release it on the new album.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
this
tough,
is the
man.
reason why we're doing it. But I mean, ultimately, it's up to you guys. But yeah, you were lied. At the end of the day, you were lied to. It was a thing where someone someone knew that was doing the wrong thing that shouldn't be fucking around people in general.
The thing is, though, like, I mean, at the time, like, was he doing that stuff at the time? It's, you know,
I don't know.
Or that happened since. It's
never know.
You know, so it's tough. But look, yeah, it's never pleasant. But yeah, like fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Exactly.
I hope Bubba's giving him kisses and cuddles every night.
So, I mean, Nick, how have you found, you know, sort of coming into the band and you know, sort of learning all the material, and has that been something that you kind of has tested your limits on a bit, or have you been able to just kind of come in and pretty much ace it really quickly? Like, what was that like for you?
I've told Rel this story before, but I actually wanted to try out in around 2015, like way before 2020. So and he doesn't remember that. And I tried a couple songs, but I couldn't play them that good, so I thought forget it. Then coming back in 2020, I picked it up. Yeah. I think the couple songs he made me learn how to write one for the new album.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, then learn a couple old songs, and I've definitely gotten better. It's like I'm always learning new tracks. Like we learned a new track recently that Ralph really wants to play. So that wasn't too hard, but yeah, it's been not bad. Or
Nice.
ask Ralph how he thinks I've went.
Yeah, how do you think he's going, Raul?
He's actually it was funny when we started doing the first round of tracks. What at that time was the whole album, but the guitarist that left, we deleted 3 songs that we just couldn't. I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, and I've got videos of it. I remember, you know, especially in the studio, everything's under the microscope. So Nick's drumming here and there. We're doing this and this and that, making this better, making that better. And you notice when someone is playing to the limit of their skill. And so Nick was never, before he joined Dark Lord, he was never a thrash metal guy. And, you know, most thrash metal does the old skank beat, really fast skank beat. And that wasn't his thing. And at a certain speed, you know, like Metallica, Slayer speed kind of thing. And come forward 3 years where we went and did another 3 tracks in the studio, and I noticed straight away how much his skill had not just improved but had changed. and there was no more. He didn't sound like he was at the edge of his limit anymore. He just sounded like he was in the pocket. If that's if that's noticeable, and that I'm amazed that Nick has come that far in 5 years. He's grown. His repertoire of music has grown from when I first knew him. He likes the warning like me. You know, he wants to have sex with the drummer. With Paulina. He keeps calling her his girlfriend. You know. I suppose 50 billion other people too as well.
Yeah, well,
mate,
we're fans of the warning.
Yeah, we've done a couple of reactions for their fans are.
They show up.
They show up. Their fans are very, very dedicated.
Mate, if they're playing here, Nick wants to get backstage passes, mate.
I'm a radio, but it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah, so Nick's drumming, and I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. He doesn't need it. He farts like a chimney. But his skill has improved so much that now I find myself, I have skills to improve when I'm playing along with him, trying to really follow his kick and snare. But I never used to be like that. I used to be on autopilot when many years ago. And so and he's also a drummer that when I push him to be creative, to try something or to add something more than just a standard drum beat, he'll do it. And I like when the album's finally out and what you guys are going to hear, you'll like it because I'll give you I'll give you a sort of foray of what it is. It's basically a mixture of the first 3 albums and some new stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not, like I said, I'm not trying to copy the last album, even though Paul Wall the Condor is the album that really set the Dark Order sound in stone. If you want to know what's that band really sound like, that's that album. But we've not stayed in that box, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, look, and this is, I talk about it quite a bit. The idea of, I'm sure you've probably heard the saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right?
I never heard that saying.
Really? Okay. I mean, I like to look at it the same way with music, right? Like, I never want to be the most talented person in a band. I would never want to be the most skillful person in a band, I never want to feel like I'm the most skillful person in a band. And look, believe me, that's not. It's if I'm the most skilled person in a band, the band's in fucking trouble. Okay, I'll tell you that. But
it is, man.
But I love the idea of, the best bands to me are the ones where no one considers themselves to be like the most skillful. Everyone looks at everyone else in the band and goes, how the fuck am I in a band with these people? And they always drives them, and that sort of, and uses that as motivation and drive to grow and become better and expand their skill set and push their limits and expand their abilities, because that's, and it's amazing to see. Like, I mean, I had, I used to be in Tensions Arise back in the day, and we had the opportunity to go. We got the opportunity to go and record with Logan Mader from Machine Head. You may know he's done like Fear Factory and Devil Driver stuff and all that. Yeah. And we knew like a year out, right? It was like some Dragon Ball Z shit. We're like, right, we've got a year to get ready. And so we we're like, all right, we got to put the work in. We got to do this. We got to be, get better at playing the click tracks, because if we're Logan Mader's not going to let us not use a fucking click track. Let me tell you. And so, and watching what impressed me so much was the way our drummer at the time, Kyle, shout out to Kyle, not this Kyle,
not
different
me,
Kyle,
the other one.
shout out to
he's a weapon.
Shout out to Kyle. He put so much fucking work in over that year, and he leveled up multiple times over, and that work ethic that was instilled in him through that process has continued, and dude is an absolute fucking gun on that shit these days.
So he tracked the drums without a click track?
No, with a click track.
Oh, with a click track.
With it. I'm like, we need to get, because the first EP that we didn't use a click. We're like, nah, we hadn't really practiced with a click. When we got in the studio, we're like, we'll just do it without a click, whatever. Big mistake. Big fucking mistake.
Fucking oath.
Second time around, I'm like, all right, we're working with someone of Logan's stature. We have to do this. Like, everyone has to practice to a click at home. We got to practice in the studio to a click. We have to, like, we did different iterations of it where we did like, all right, what exercises can we do to get better at playing tight and together and to a click? And so we would do, you know, one person sits out. So we're playing like without one person's, you know, one guitar's out of the equation, so we're not getting able to cue off that guitar, or like the bass would sit out, or we wouldn't have the vocals, or, you know, the drums would sit out for a little bit, and we would just all be because, you know, what combination are we going to get? We're going to be playing to incomplete versions of the songs. We need to be prepared for that. And but yeah, Kyle, far more than anyone else in the band, like, everyone improved, but Kyle just was like, he fucking just shot light years up in his ability, and I am, you know, I'm still to this day proud of what he achieved with that, and what he's done since, because and he was the youngest of the band as well by a wide margin, so he was, you know, really putting in that work and that set the foundation for him. And I just, the idea to me that, yeah, like that, and that's what kind of it's sparked me on the mentality of, you know, never wanting to feel like the most talented person in a band, always feeling like, you know, you almost want a little bit of imposter syndrome in a way. You almost want to have a little bit of feeling like, oh, I don't really belong with the rest of these guys, because the rest of these guys are fucking insanely good and talented and everything, and I'm like just me, and not in like a toxic way, not in a toxic way or a really self-deprecating way, but just enough sprinkled in there to stop yourself from getting a big head and egotistical and thinking that you're,
well, I mean,
you know,
that's just
bigger
the thing.
than the band, right?
That's right, and that's what I iterate to Luis and to Nick, because they're the youngest guys in the band. And I, like, for instance, okay, you're talking about click tracks. Our first album and third album were not done to click tracks, because my brother, the drummer at the time, he just has the knack. And we just did multiple takes of each song and edited everything together, and it was fine, and it was great. The second album was our Russian drummer, who insisted on click tracks, and I felt that the clicks kind of just kill the vibes of the song. But when it came to this new album, and it's evolved so much in 30 years that we went to click mapping sessions, and we actually matched the feel and speed of a riff or whatever, and then figured it out how fast it should be and how it should change tempo here and there and stuff. So this album, we managed to keep the feel of the songs using clicks, because for Nick, a click definitely helps on his strong points are fast drums, but his weaknesses are playing really slow, you know, Bill Wardy kind of drum patterns where he can't keep a steady tempo as much as you'd like him to. So the thing is, this goes back to teamwork. When you're talking about big egos in the band, each of us at the current time with the lineup I got, it's my favorite lineup that I've had, and I'm not blowing smoke up their asses, but I've done the band since 1992, and this is my favorite lineup because everybody knows their job, everybody does their speciality, everybody leads, everybody also criticizes, everybody, you know, Nick will push me to do vocals when I don't practice enough vocals at rehearsal and things like that. But there's no overblown egos. And I said, looking for a new band, bass player, whatever. Number one, it's the hardest thing to test is how are they as a team player? You know, it's not about
that. Only comes out in the long term. You can't. Yeah,
it's a band. A band is about it, like an original band, original like cover bands like to call us originals, bands that have their albums and music and product. The band is an entity, and the band is its product number one. You, as a band member, are just one of the cogs in that product. And so you got to remember that if everybody is a good team player, everybody not just helps each other along, but even criticizes constructively along, you know, caring about the band's sound, then that ultimately comes out on the music you record and what you do live. For instance, in the past, especially in the 90s, people used to say I was the dictator of the band. But the truth, but Nick's been in the band for 5 years. he's the one who's in charge. He calls himself the gig pimp and the set list pimp, you know, because he just goes and writes out a set list. And I never, ever bat my eye saying, oh, I don't like this song. I just, you know, Nick could write whatever and I'll just play it. And he'll always push me saying, Wacho, he calls me Wacho. Do you know how to sing this song? And I go, no. And he goes, go learn the lyrics, you know. And Luis also gets involved in the sets. And when I get around to doing the artwork for shirts, like we were talking about earlier, I've got ideas, but I want to show the guys. And if they say, no, that looks gay, whatever, all right, you know. I think ego definitely is something, if you've got it, you've got to quell it. You've got to get rid of it. Yeah. You've got to realize that a band is, the band is the sum of its parts.
Yes.
Right? And if a band can turn into a family, like that kind of brother vibe, that is definitely a bonus.
Yeah.
And Nick is definitely like my little brother that I look after, and he looks after me, and Luis, we look after him, and Shawnee is like, aside from me knowing him since high school, he's like the older brother, and he's just, you know, I mean, he's the one responsible financially for the Cold War, the Condor album to even exist, because if it wasn't for him, we would have been up shit creek. So everyone's done their part in different times of the band, different situations, and you're absolutely right, man. It's with the ego, with that, you know, there is a lot of musicians who join bands for their own social status. It's their own ego. They can be in 5 bands, and I look at a person like that. I said, why are you not just concentrating effort on one band, dude? Why are you spreading yourself across 5 bands? It's because you're playing music for your own ego and for your own stature. You're not playing it because you want to express yourself. You're not writing songs. You've got nothing to push except yourself. And so,
at what point are you a session musician?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're there for yourself. You're there for your own stature. You know, look at me. I'm in Dark Order. I'm in this. I'm in that. And you're like, well, so what, man? Just because we've been around for 30-something years, it doesn't mean that we're a famous band. We're still a nobody band. We're still a shit kicker band. We're still playing the local clubs in Australia. We haven't toured excessively around the world because we didn't get the opportunities when they happened. I mean, we went for the Slayer support a couple of times and we lost out to other bands. We went for Anthrax, and that was a whole fucking another story there with the infamous AJ. You know, the guy that used to run this.
AJ Matter.
Yep.
Yeah. We had a sort of a run-in. He had a run-in with us. It wasn't us with him, right? He didn't like that. I went and made a promo pack of the band, and we knew that he lived in a suburb of Sydney, and we said, fuck putting it in the post. We can just drive by and just drop it off in his mailbox. And he got the shits that we did that. It's like, so what's the difference if Australia Post did it or did it? We just
did you go up and knock on the door?
No. We just went up his mailbox.
We
just put it in his mailbox.
Yeah, you know? I don't really see the difference there, right?
No.
Like you whether you know
you wrote the address on there.
Whether you wrote the address, whether you wrote the address on and put it in the post, or you went there yourself, it doesn't matter. Like it's not you tracked down my address. It's like no,
I had your address.
I had your address. Like, what do you mean? I just dropped it off. That's fine.
Shit. It's like, dude, we just put it in your mailbox. But so there's, as you guys are well aware, the music industry is full of, shall we say, colourful characters.
Don't worry. We got a segment later on for that. We got a segment later on to talk all about that. Don't you worry.
Should be called the narcissism in the music industry. Fuck, it's a disease, man. You know,
sandy vaginas.
Yeah. All right.
That's what Nick calls them, sandy vaginas. I like that.
Well, look, what we'll do, we'll wrap the podcast up there. Thank you so much, guys. But we do stick around because we've got a couple more segments to come. Don't worry, guys. We've got a couple more segments to come. So you guys stay on the call. You guys who are watching at home, make sure you come back on Saturday and Sunday for the quick question quarter and get in the bin. But for now, we're going to sign off the podcast. Remember, I am the Reverend Raff. BeerBuddy Kyle, along with Raoul and Nick from Dark Order. Get your tickets
you,
to
boys.
Nowherefest. We will have links down in the description as well as links to everything that Dark Order has going on, so you can jump on board, see those gigs coming up, keep tabs on the album because that's going to be coming next year. And if you watch this far, you're an absolute legend. Take care of yourselves and your mates.
Before you go,
Yes.
Nick, get Nick to do a bit of a twerk. Come on, Nick, twerk.
That's it's all right. Hey, maybe we'll get him to do it on one of the other
do it
two
on the drum
videos.
We've invented the metal twerk. That's
The
a Dark
metal
Order
twerk.
thing.
Do it on the drum stand.
We'll have to see it at the show then. All right, everyone. Well, those who are watching, thank you so much. You guys stick around. We'll be back with you guys on the weekend. Peace out.
Peace.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We really hope you had a good time. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell down there. It helps the channel grow. We are still a fairly young channel and we like to try and grow our audience all over the world. We do also, for those of you who are interested, have a Patreon. It's just a couple of bucks a month. At the moment, you get all the videos early and ad-free, but we are working on ways to increase the value of that and make it a bit more enticing. So don't forget to keep an eye out and check back on what's going on over there. Other than that, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.